Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jerry Gatka, your host for Top of the Morning. Our guest today is Brooke Learman, and she is a candidate for state delegate.
I am. Thank you very much, Jerry. It's great to be here on a beautiful day in the Inner Harbor of Baltimore.
Now, you're also a civil rights attorney.
I am. I actually work just a few blocks from here at a firm called Brown, Goldstein & Levy. We're a mid-sized civil rights litigation firm, and I represent low-wage workers, people with disabilities, and I also represent community groups pro bono all around the city.
How long have you been, how did you actually get involved in that? Whatever made you decide to become a lawyer?
To become a lawyer? Well, you know, I did a lot of organizing after college. I did a lot of political organizing, working with people, and I've always been very interested in empowering people and working with people to make sure that, you know, their rights are vindicated. And eventually I decided the best way to really empower people would be to go to law school. Okay. So while I was in law school, I was fortunate to be involved with a number of professors and clinics where I was able to do workers' rights and fair housing law, and decided, wow, you know, this is some place where I can really make a difference, and that's why I decided to get into it.
I became a commissioner actually in 2008.
Okay.
And I was appointed to that position, and the reason why I became a commissioner is because I've always been interested into civic activities as well as serving the communities, and as an educator I've always been very much interested in seeing how communities can grow and how I can assist.
That's very ambitious, it seems to me. Do you feel like you've accomplished any of your goals so far? Did you set goals when you first became a commissioner?
Well, actually, when I first became a commissioner in 2008, the goal, of course, first was to see what was going to be some of the issues that women were having within the state of Maryland, and once was able to identify what those were, we were able to work cohesively together to ensure that there were certain goals that each of us wanted to make sure that women were going to be having information about. And serving as a conduit of giving out information to the women in Maryland, one of the things that we worked towards previously when we had foreclosures that were going on within the state of Maryland.
Morning show, our guest today, Janet Kaslow, the founder and executive director of Portfest.
Hello, good morning.
And other things as well, correct?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
We'll talk about those in a few minutes. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Jerry Gietka, your host, here in beautiful downtown Baltimore's Inner Harbor on U.S. Constellation. Our guest, Janet Kaslow from the Portfest. What is Portfest?
Portfest is an educational take on the working port of Baltimore. Since the 9/11 catastrophe that happened in New York, everything is so secure and tight that no one can really get near the port to see what the working port is doing. Can't get near the airports, can't get near the trains. Most people, if you go on a plane, you walk through, get on, and get off. You can't really see much of the outside or how it all works. So what we're doing is bringing high school and college students at this point into the inner workings and showing them the career paths, the global career opportunities that are available in our intermodal ports.
Got that one right?
You got it right.
How about that?
That was
All right. I want to talk to Kate first. Kate, tell us a little bit more about the Howard P. Rawlings Conservatory and what you do there.
Well, it wasn't always the Howard P. Rawlings Conservatory. Actually, it was the Baltimore
Belonged to his wife
Conservatory.
first, is that it?
No, it was the Baltimore Conservatory, and it was born, if you will, in 1887. They completed the construction in 1888, which makes
it pretty old.
Makes it pretty old, and we're celebrating 125 years this year.
Wow.
With a lot of activities and a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, a lot of activities. Tell us about the activities.
Well, we started the year with a kickoff to launch us into the 125th. And
Now, did that coincide with football season?
It was, well, depending on where you sit, more exciting maybe not. I don't know.
You were telling me about the kickoff.
Okay, well, we had a wonderful kickoff in January, January 23rd, on a very cold January 23rd night, and over almost 250 people came.
I hope they were indoors.
They were indoors.
Welcome back, everybody. Jerry Gietka, your host for the Top of the Morning Show, having a very interesting conversation with Dr. Kate O'Brien from the Johns Hopkins School of Health. During the break, while we were chatting, you mentioned closing the gap.
Yeah.
Please tell our audience about that.
So every year there's a World Immunization Week, and this is World Immunization Week for 2015. And the theme for this year's Immunization Week is closing the gap. What that really means is that there are still children, both in the United States and around the world, in spite of having access to vaccines, are not vaccinated. They may be vaccinated partially, they may have had 1 or 2 vaccines, but they've not gotten them on time, they haven't gotten the full course of vaccines, and of course there are some children who are not vaccinated at all. So the idea is really we need to have every child vaccinated so each child can get the benefit of those protective interventions.
The top of the morning show, and I'm here today with our guest, who is Janice Eastmorehead Grant. Now, I'm looking at parts of your bio, and I can't remember the last time I met someone with such an interesting experience background. Let's start with where you are today. You're a retired teacher, correct?
I am.
All right, and that's locally here in Maryland?
It is. It's in Harford. I retired in Harford County.
And how long did you teach there?
I taught in Harford County 11 years.
Okay.
Then I went to Nashville, Tennessee for 4 years.
So I want to get into that a little bit later, but you're a retired teacher from Harford County. You're a minister?
I am ordained.
Ordained minister. You're a writer.
Yes.
Where do you find time to do all this?
I don't sleep much.
And you've written a book from your teaching experience, right? A math book?
I wrote one I have about my Peace Corps experience.
Okay.
And then
Let's get into that.
Right. My husband and I joined the United States Peace Corps in Nashville, Tennessee.
What caused you to do that?
Well, I had joined before President Kennedy, before the ink was dry, when he first proposed Peace Corps. And then when I married, my husband wanted to go. We were assigned to Ethiopia.
Wow.
And then we went to Liberia, West Africa. We were involved for 5
Interest to appease my own curiosity, so to speak. Today it's a little bit different because I know quite a bit about our guest. Our guest today is my mother, Catherine Gatka, and we're here because she is going to be one of the unsung heroes down at the Women's Heritage Center. And we're taping it for that purpose as well as for the purpose of this show, Top of the Morning. We're going to be talking about Polish heritage because I am second generation Polish American. My mother was born here from parents of Polish immigrants who emigrated here to this country when my grandmother was 14 years old. We're going to be talking about Polish heritage. We're going to be talking about my mother growing up in the Depression. And we're going to be right back after this break. We're up to the point now where you wrote a book, and you wrote a book about everything we've talked about your story, Mom's story. And Mom, all I can ask is now, you've led a very full life, you've done lots of different things, you've met lots of very interesting people. What are you going to do next, Mom? What's next for you over the next 20 years?
Whatever comes up. It's all in God's plan. If He has something planned for me and I can do it, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to plan anything myself. Because when you plan something, something always comes up and your plans are changed. And you can't do what you wanted to do.
I don't think we can top that, so I think we're going to say goodbye at this point in time and say thank you for coming and talking to everybody and telling us your story, Mom. And we're going to say goodbye to the Top of the Morning show. Wave goodbye. There we go. Of the U.S. Constellation, which means we're out in the public. You'll see people touring this big ship behind us. You'll hear noises overhead of cannons rolling by and all sorts of people walking, and occasionally you might even hear the cannon going off, as well as the noise of the city in the Inner Harbor. I'm here today with our guests, Dr. Jamie Bracey and Tony Fowler. Which of you would like to begin and tell us what it is that you do?
Ladies first. I am the Director of STEM Education and Research for Temple University, focusing on accelerating what young people know in high school in technology, engineering, science, and math.
Okay. That was a little backwards, right? STEM is those things, starting with the science. You said you're trying your focus on young people. What age group?
Anyone under 30 qualifies as a young person now.
That leaves me out. Oh, well. Sponsor. Anybody out there interested, just give us a call. The contact information is underneath. I think I'd like to see that show. Why not? You've been great guests. It's been wonderful talking to you. I've learned quite a bit today. It's really nice meeting you, Tony.
Thank you.
And Jamie.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dr. Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
The top of the morning show, and I'm here with our guest today, Varsha Mathur. And you're here representing the Maryland Commission for Women, is that correct?
I am, yes. Thank you for having me.
How did you get involved in that?
Well, last year was my first year. I was appointed in July. And Mac Middleton, our senator locally in Southern Maryland, introduced me to the commission and requested my nomination. And I was thereafter nominated. And also, I knew Darlene Breck, who's also one of our commissioners, and she suggested that I join, and it's been wonderful ever since.
Now, we've had an earlier show where we did an interview with another one of the members, Lynn,
Yes.
and she told us all about the commission. All right, but why did you want to get involved with the commission?
Well, I think it's really wonderful that our community in the state of Maryland recognizes that women issues are still out there and that they are still very important, because even though there has been a lot of development in the equality of women, there are still needs out there that need to be met. And I think that even though
veterans and veterans that are at risk of being homeless.
You say service and support. In what ways do you do that?
We provide housing options and referral services.
So you own lots of houses all over Baltimore?
No, we don't own houses, but we partner with different agencies like
Okay.
Social Services, Department of Family Services, Department of Veterans Affairs, and we use those resources to provide veterans with the housing services that they need.
Okay, and how do you find these veterans, or how do they find you?
We've been in existence for 2.5 years now, so we have a good reputation with the community. We do a lot of advocacy and outreach, and so veterans normally call us, or either another department will refer the veterans over to us.
How did you begin this? I mean, where did it all come from?
Okay, I started John 14.2 Inc. because I was homeless back in the early 1990s. I am a veteran. My husband is also a veteran. And he has post-traumatic stress disorder. So 2.5 years ago, I got to the point to where I just couldn't take all of these mood swings and the symptoms that come along with the post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yours or his?
His. His, yeah. And I said, you know, is this, God, is this marriage a blessing or a curse? I said, something has to give here.
Yeah.
So basically, I just felt like it was time for me to go out in the community to help those veterans that didn't have a strong support system the way that he did. And then I formed John 14.2 Inc.
You say you served?
Yes, I served. I was in the Navy.
In the Navy? At what time frame and where did you serve?
I was in the Navy from 1988 to 1992.
Okay.
I was stationed in Annapolis, Maryland, and then I married.
She was very humanitarian, and she had a big heart. She wanted to be the Queen of Hearts. And Pope Francis also is very humanitarian. He's known for doing things with the common man, taking the train.
It certainly makes him
car.
different than a lot of the more recent popes.
And people relate to him, and they love that. They feel that he really cares about them, no matter what their status is.
And no matter what he says as well. I mean, there are people that disagree with him, but still respect and love the man.
Definitely. So his chart very much says that. And so I really enjoy Pope watching and looking at the different charts of the different popes and seeing how people respond to them. And there's always something there that's really interesting.
Can you predict anything from this? I mean, where's Pope Francis going to take us from here?
Well, I wrote an article about him right when he was elected, and because of that unconventional, unpredictable Aquarius energy, I think he's going to continue surprising us. So.
Now, I understand you read a lot of articles. Where can people find some of these?
My website with my astrology work is heavenlycharts.com. If you go there, you can get all the articles, and on Facebook, it's the Catholic Astrologer.
The Catholic Astrologer. Look for the Catholic Astrologer on Facebook. You'll find Amy Bonaccorso. You'll get into all these interesting topics, most of which I know very little about. But I would like to pursue some of these with you but in a much more, a longer format. And I'm not quite sure this is the right place for that. So if you don't mind, we'll ask you to be a guest on some of our other shows on this channel.
Sure, thank you.
That'd be great. Chantel, anything else?
I can't wait to go and check out that website. There's so much that I want to learn and so much I want to do. But we had so much fun speaking with you.
Top of the morning, I'm James Brumfield, and I'm being joined by Jerry Gietka. Is that right?
That's correct.
Great. And you're directing a show in Essex, is that right?
In Essex.
In Essex.
Cockpit and Court Summer Theater.
Cockpit and Court. That's the name of the theater.
That's the name of the theater group.
And what's the name of the production?
The production is Dial M for Murder, which everyone is familiar with as the old Hitchcock film classic.
I know it was turned into a book as well, wasn't it?
I'm not familiar with that, to be
Well,
honest with you.
it was turned into a book on tape anyway.
That could
I
be.
think it was the play
Could be.
that they had
The play was written by Frederick Knott, and of course the film was based on that.
Yeah. That's great. So how long have you been directing?
I've been directing a number of years, but I started doing that after I realized that my main mental therapy, which is acting and being on stage, got to the point where I could no longer be cast in some of the shows that I would like to do, so I figured I might as well start directing some of the shows that I would like to do.
You think of it as mental therapy?
Yes, it is definitely my mental therapy.
Why is
it has
that?
been for years and years. My lifestyle for the last 3 or 4 years, primarily, has been very hectic with lots of other commitments in my life.
So you don't have time for acting anymore?
I still take the time.
Still
Again,
take
it
the
has
time.
been my mental therapy. I haven't done as many shows these last couple of years as I have in the past, but the wife.
So
But
that's
in
why
the
they
story
call it
works out.
Dial M?
That's correct.
Okay.
In the story, it works out because the wife is arrested for the murder and sent off to prison.
Well, they
so
have to
he
be.
still almost gets the money. Of course, there's a third act where that changes.
Oh, okay. Is there a surprise ending here?
Of course, there's always a surprise ending in Hitchcock.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, folks, if you'd like to come up and see the view here at the Top of the World, home of Top of the Morning, please dial 410-837-VIEW.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the U.S. Constellation, the Top of the Morning Show. I'm your host, Jerry Gatka, and we're filming today in the public as tours go on in the background, cannons are going off above, and people walking around, and maybe some clock ticking from something nearby in the furniture. So if you hear all these noises and you hear all the children running by, it's just the sounds of the city. I'm here today with our guest, Pat Cornish. And Pat, you're with the Maryland Women's Commission?
Yes, I am.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Well,
Actually, you're the head of that, correct?
I am. I'm the chair.
All right.
Yes, yes. The Maryland Commission for Women is made up of about 24 incredible women from all around the state, from different geographic areas with different backgrounds. They're quite an impressive group of women. Currently, we're sitting at about 21, so we have a couple of openings, and there's some areas of the state that we'd be willing to have people
Let's sell it. Let's do the
apply.
commercial.
You
Go
can
ahead.
certainly go on our website, www.marylandwomen.org, and fill out the outside and female representation there.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. How long before our first female president?
Well, I think we're getting there, and I hope we're going to see it in my lifetime.
I think we will.
I think
I
so,
think
too.
so.
I think it's an exciting prospect, and I think it's right around the corner.
And on that note, we're going to say goodbye to our audience. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pat, for being our guest
Jerry.
today.
Appreciate you having me.
It's a good time.
It's been great. Thank you.
Very much. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.
There's a special exhibit going on. It's called All Face Beautiful, and there are a lot of wonderful artists.
And it's a special exhibit because we're in beautiful downtown Baltimore where there's so much going on all the time. But for the moment, we've stopped everything. Traffic, sound, noise, almost all the noise, as you can hear in the background.
That's right.
And we're going to take a special tour of the American Visionary Arts Museum.
That's right. And we have a wonderful artist with us, Frank Warren. He was actually at Art-O-Matic in D.C. He's launching his exhibit. It's called Post Secret, postcards with little personal secrets written on it. And it's really exciting. I can't wait to see it.
It's almost like postcards on the edge.
That's right.
It should be fun. Just so you all know, we're not currently inside the museum. We're outside in a little secret garden where they have many receptions nearby in the building behind us, and they hold weddings here, parties.
That's right. They hold private receptions here. Make sure you check it out.
And let's have a word from the founder and curator of the American Visionary Arts Museum, Ms. Rebecca Hofberger.
That's right. Right now.
That's a good
Especially if it's a stock. I mean, you could go back to a certain date in the paper and say, what was it selling for?
Right,
at that
exactly. We can do that and use that as a basis. And that's pretty close. If you know when the date they sold it, or a date real close to it, you can go back and get the.
Well, that's a good question. You say a date real close to. How strict is the IRS on those types of? I mean, does it have to be exact or close enough, or?
It can be close enough. If you've shown that you have put forth a good effort to get the information and you document how you try to get the information, the IRS will accept that.
Okay, so you should be more afraid of just not reporting it at all than of getting it wrong.
That's correct. Right. Okay. That's correct.
Because if you get it wrong, you get a chance to correct it, right?
Correct.
I'm here talking to our friends from H&R Block, Tom Newcomb and Vivian Scott, and we mentioned tax implications for actors. And there's a lot of us out there, and for the most part, I don't care about you guys. I want help for my own taxes. Gatka. And I hope you enjoyed our show today, talking to our guests from H&R Block, and we hope you'll be able to get some good information out of it. And if you need them, you can call H&R Block for your tax preparation services. And come back to our next show. We'll see you again at the top of the morning, top of the world, in beautiful downtown Baltimore.
Of naval accession training for both active duty and reserve sailors. Naval Service Training Command includes Officer Training Command, Newport, Rhode Island, and Officer Training Command, Pensacola, Florida, as well as the Naval ROTC units at colleges and universities, and the Naval Junior ROTC units at high schools throughout the nation. It is through these portals that volunteer civilians begin their Navy journey.
Hello again, everybody. This is Jerry Gatka at Top of the Morning at Top of the World. And I'm here today with my guest, Jeff Campbell. Now, Jeff is primarily from Virginia at the moment, finds himself in Baltimore, but recently more so from Italy and Greece. Tell me a little bit about your travels over there. What are you doing over there?
I'm in the United States Navy, stationed at Fort Belvoir right now, and I'm going to school at Fort Meade. And my last tour was at Suda Bay, Crete, Greece, and my tour before that was Naples, Italy. So Navy's given me a lot of great opportunities to travel all over Europe.
Now, you worked and had fun while you were over there, right?
Yeah, I had done a lot of cool stories for AFN, the American Forces Network. In 2004, we had the Olympics in Greece, so I had the opportunity to go up to Thessalonica and interview a Navy captain who was running with the torch. He was a dual Greek-American citizen, so it was really awesome to do a story on him.
Did you have to run with him with the camera?
Yeah.
How'd you keep up with it?
Well, they only run a few hundred feet and then pass it on to the next guy. So I ran a little bit and then stopped and got a shot and another shot.
Now, is this the camera that you were using over there as well?
No, I had a smaller camera for more mobile shoots like that.
But wouldn't it have kept you fitter if you'd had the heavier camera? You ran with the Olympics, but you were filming certain kinds of stories over there, right?
Yeah, just whatever the assignment editor gives me, just like a regular newspaper television in the States. My sergeant will tell me to go get something, and I go out and get it.
Where do these shows that you film, they're documentary type shows or I guess human interest type things?
And when we think about kids around the world, apart from kids in the U.S., over and above the kids in the U.S., only about 80% of children are vaccinated. And the problem is that
How does that compare with the U.S.?
Yeah, the U.S. has higher vaccination rates than that, so we're up in the 90% range.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that children have gotten all of their vaccines, and it doesn't mean that they got them on time.
Advice to the parents.
Yeah.
Are there questions they should ask of their doctors to answer to that? Has my child gotten all their? I mean, how would they know? What should they know?
Every parent should know about their own child's vaccination history, and if you have any question about that, you should ask your doctor whether your child is fully vaccinated and up to date on their vaccines. The other important thing is if parents have any questions, they really should talk to their doctor about it. Doctors are educated. They've gone through years and years of education about what the vaccines are and how they work and the safety of the vaccines.
So the Engineers Club is a private social club. It was founded by the engineers who rebuilt the city of Baltimore after its Great Fire in 1904. And they formed the club in 1905. And fast forwarding through their history, so I don't drag on.
We don't want it every year.
In 1962, they purchased the Garrett Jacobs Mansion from the city of Baltimore. And at that time, they changed the bylaws of the club, opening up beyond engineers to all business professionals. So as it stands now, some 50-ish years later, this is a private social club for all business professionals in the Baltimore and its surrounding communities. We're very diverse, not just a rich white old men's club. We have lots of women and minorities, both in the club as well as leadership positions, just like we do in the business community around Greater Baltimore. So it is a private social...
And all of the activities going on there.
My pleasure.
Is there anything else that you want to tell our audience before we leave?
Come and visit the club.
Come and visit the club, call ahead of time, Jay will set up tours, come for dinner, and experience the ambiance of the Engineers Club.
Wyndham Peabody Court Hotel.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jerry Gietka, your host for Top of the Morning. Today we're doing something different. Instead of our usual venue, we're here at the Wyndham Peabody Court Baltimore Hotel.
It's very good to have y'all here. We appreciate it there. My name is Michael Donaldson, and I am the general manager of the Wyndham Peabody Court Hotel here on Cathedral Street in the Cultural District of Baltimore. We're a beautiful 104-room hotel. We're almost 100 years old, and we'll talk about our history a little bit later. But we'd love you to come and see our warmth and energy here in our wonderful hotel.
Now, the warmth and energy, that's from the staff or from the heating facility?
No, it's not necessarily the heating facility. I think it's our staff. Okay. But as soon as you walk through the revolving doors in the front door.
It is beautiful as you come in.
Thank you very much.
And even the space where we're interviewing here in the library, I mean, it's just off the lobby, just off the front desk, and it's quiet, peaceful. I can imagine your guests loitering in here and just taking in the views outside and as you say, the peacefulness of the culture and whatnot.
Well, thank you. They do. They spend almost every hour. There's people in here reading.
Now, as the general manager, what exactly? Just the preparation and the presentation. Very nice. Very good. Finger looking good. And my partner across the table here has a portobello mushroom sandwich with pickled tomato, lettuce, huge amount of ketchup, some fries, and a house salad with a special dressing. This is a turkey and brie combination. It's very, very tasty, and it has a dressing of some kind. I think it's a honey mustard mayonnaise. Not a whole lot, just the right amount, just a touch, and it's very, very flavorful.
Busy and everything. They're not, when they meet you, they are actually really nice people, and they're interesting to talk to, and they give their time to you, and they're so generous and kind that you get to know them as people, and then you appreciate them all the more. They're just not celebrities anymore.
They're people just like everybody else.
Yes.
Just like Bob, growing up.
But Cal Ripken wasn't in a hurry. He gave us a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
He autographed a lot of shirts and baseballs and baseball bats and whatever we had to sign, he signed them.
Bob's had an interesting life, capped by meeting lots of interesting people, and probably the most unique experience of all, mother of the $183 million winner, my sister Bernadette. We've had a great time talking to you all. We're going to have to close the show now, and we'll say goodbye. Goodbye for the Top of the Morning show.